nature. I want to dig post holes, I want to whip weeds, I want to meet the public's needs. I want to be the park ranger.
Hello, Blasted or Stash Conians. You are live with us, and one of the creators of Ranger Stranger. It's a book that I actually saw in this month's previous guide. I'm looking, I'm like, no way. There's a book about a park ranger? That just doesn't happen, you know, because I work as a park ranger, and I'm like, this is right at my jam. And then I went to your website, and I'm like, oh god, this is it. We got to have this guy, and we got to have him talk about their book and stuff. We got a few people in Shadowy Mars and Miss So in here. Thanks, guys, for jumping in, or ladies for jumping in. I think, like we talked about it before, we're like one of the only YouTube channels that have mainly female viewers for some reason. There's Jamie too, right there. So jumping in. Thanks, guys, for jumping in.
That's great.
So let's go and introduce yourself and kind of what you're here, man. Let's talk about your book.
Yeah. My name is Tyler Jensen. I'm one of the creators of Ranger Stranger, and it's me and two other guys. I was just saying earlier, you got just me tonight, so I got to dial up the charm here. But happy to be here. Real happy to be here, and happy to be talking about one of my favorite things with just Ranger Stranger. So I'm glad you guys are enjoying it too.
Great. So my first question for you is, so this started out as Instagram or a web comic. Mm-hmm. How long have you been doing that for now?
So let's see. Gosh, when did we start it? I think 2018. Okay. And it's we're live, right? Yeah, we're on.
Yeah, we're live. Yeah,
okay.
We're live.
Just making sure. So it began in it kind of took a couple iterations in its existence throughout, but it really, the genesis of it was it kind of stemmed from a hatred of a comic, if you can believe that. I'm gonna put you guys to the test here. So you guys know a lot about comics. Do you remember an old comic back in the Sunday papers called Mark Trail?
Kind of sounds familiar.
Oh, I stumped you. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm really old, or I'm way out there in the things that I read. Well, I don't know. Maybe you can still see it. I have no idea. I haven't read the Sunday papers in ages, but I remember being a little kid and reading the Sunday papers, the Sunday comics in the back. And, there was always, Far Side was a huge influence in my life, and Calvin and Hobbes was great, and then there's all these old ones that have been running since like the 50s, and they weren't funny and they weren't interesting anymore. The new stuff was kind of coming in and the old stuff was still hanging on, but there was this one comic called Mark Trail, and it was just this about this guy who was in the middle of the woods. And he would just wax loquaciously about the woods. And he would be like, and the American toad changes its skin from green to brown every autumn. And you're like a 10-year-old going, what? Like, why is this interesting? Like, who's taking notes on this shit? So it would just make me so mad. Yeah, there you go. And it was so dated. You see like how it hasn't changed. The style hasn't changed since the 50s. That guy, he was like that classic Hollywood leading man look with this pomaded hair and his chiseled jaw. And he was so, yeah, right. No one uses pomade anymore. But, and so I would just make me so mad getting to that point. And so so I work in advertising, and I'm with creatives all day long, and, taking a stupid idea and just beating it to death is just something we would do on a daily basis. So, seeing how far we can take this stupid thing out. So that would come up on a regular basis. And where I would just lose my mind talking about how ridiculous this thing was. And it just kind of started to become like, what if this guy knew absolutely nothing about the woods? Like, what if he was just some complete psycho out in the woods talking about something that he thinks he knows about, but he knows absolutely nothing about what he's talking about. And it was like, oh my God, that's really funny. Like that's a funny concept. And it just kind of stayed, and it took hold of me. And I was like, I can't let this go. This is just something that's too good. And it just slowly kind of evolved into, well, what if it became this forest ranger? You know, I immediately start thinking of branding because I work in advertising, like where can you take this stuff? So it just kind of started with like, here's some funny jokes, but let's put them in a forest ranger uniform. Let's make it a fictional national park. Let's call it Hackeneck, find some awful name for it.
That was great.
And like, let's come up with his name, but he's still this classic leading man, but you know, let's put a dent in his head because he's clearly got something wrong with him. And so it just kind of devolved and I guess devolved too. And it just started going bigger and further and larger. And, you know, let's create, you need someone to talk to. And so let's give him a sidekick or a couple sidekicks. And then it was like, stop me if I'm just rambling, because this is what I'll do if you don't.
You're fine. All about you.
So we thought, you know, like, oh, Rick and Morty has an old man and a boy, and you know, Calvin and Hobbes was kind of like a little boy and a character, and you know, it was always male kind of oriented. And we thought, well, what if we gave him a little girl to as a sidekick, and also for advertising, and marketing, let's have, you know, this beaver who is this cute, cuddly, charming little beaver who just is you know, pure innocence, and then let's see how we can just fuck all these characters up. Oh, sorry, we can screw these characters up as best we can. And then, so getting back around to that, yeah. So we were like, well, Instagram is kind of, that was the biggest thing at the moment. It's like, well, does YouTube work? Does Instagram work? And Instagram kind of seemed to be the best thing to make kind of these simple one-off jokes, you know, and then it became animation, and then it was kind of galleries, whatever Instagram started doing, we kind of molded to that, and it slowly built. You know, it's been 3 years, and yeah, it's fun. So we post every Friday, and it's very dark and irreverent and really messed up. So, you know, don't be offended. We hope that you aren't.
No, that brings me to a point too. As soon as I saw it, so I'm a member of a Facebook group as park rangers around the state, and I'm like, oh, dude, sweet, check this out. There's a park, you know, comic book about park ranger, and I started digging deeper, and I'm like, some of these rangers are pretty sensitive. So I'm like, I'm like on the outside edge when it comes to dark humor and stuff like that. I'm totally fine with it, but I'm like, all right, am I going to push these buttons and these people away potentially with some of these jokes? Oh well, you know, it is what it is.
That's so great. You are a park ranger as well.
Yeah.
So this is like, this is right up your dark alley there.
Yep. Yep.
That's amazing. Well, I you know, we definitely, I personally, I love being outdoors, and I love hiking and camping and stuff. So it's more about the love of the outdoors. So we love our national parks, and we love our forest rangers too. So I hope.
So you don't have to try to kiss up and make sure that I'm happy and like, oh, wait a minute, this guy's actually a ranger. I might have offended him. No, don't worry about that.
The idea of roughing it is a 3-star hotel.
Yeah.
Leave the offending of Dave to me. That's my job.
There are quite a few jokes that go around about me being a park ranger. We'll kick over to Joe. What, you got a question for him, Joe?
So yeah, you kind of talked about the beginning of it, but can you kind of, and of course without giving anything away, because we really want to direct the track, because it's great stuff. I love the kind of Norman Rockwell, you know, meets Dexter.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer meets like Rock Hudson was kind of like what we were going for.
Yeah, it's awesome. But can you kind of give us a I don't know, maybe without spoiling it, kind of a synopsis, because we kind of know how they start. We kind of got an idea of the characters, but what's kind of the drive of this story here?
Yeah. So I would love to divulge everything. We kind of well, let me tell you this. There is a backstory. There is several scripts that are written. We're in a weird spot right now, and so I'd love to talk about it, but we're just what you see is what you get, at least at this point right now. And that's also kind of the fun about it is like, you know, where did that dent come from on his head? Why is he in this park and knows nothing about what he's talking about? You know, and so the mystery of the story is actually what's exciting. But at some point we are going to release it, and everybody will know where it came from. So, so for now, it was the idea is pitched as a deranged forest ranger is left in charge of the country's last national park. So whatever that means, it's kind of like, you know, if they're, so it kind of started, you remember when Huey, you know, that when the national parks were going through tax cuts and everything, and everybody was just kind of, there was no one there, you know, and everybody had just kind of moved out, and they didn't know what they were doing with national parks. The kind of the idea gestated there. Well, what if there's one guy still left in the national parks? Nobody else was there. So the character of Ranger Stranger is, his full name is Garland Woodburn. And he is kind of dealing with an identity crisis, because he knows not really a whole lot about what he's talking about. He's just kind of winging it. That might allude to maybe he maybe isn't a forest ranger. It's hard to say, but he's definitely we have him written as he's a conflicting mix between Rock Hudson and Jeffrey Dahmer. So that's kind of his write up. And then the girl is the sidekick, and she is just simply known as Girl. We didn't want to make it more complex than it needed to be, and so he just refers to her as Girl constantly, but she is very much an antagonist to him. And her mind is way deeper and way darker than his could ever go. He's kind of more in the moment, whereas she thinks about things a little. She's a little more conniving and a little more manipulating, and she can do it to him a lot easier. So if you see something happening, sometimes she's just in the background, you know, like they're at the beach. One of the last posts that we did on Instagram, they were at the beach, but she's in the background shooting seagulls. You know, she's got a gun at the beach, and, you know, and it's just like why is she? Because that's what she would do if she's at the beach. So yeah, there you go. Wow, you guys pulled this up so fast.
So did all this start, the Instagram and the little bit on YouTube there? Did all this kind of start with, you know, hey, we're going to do a comic book in mind, or was just, you know, hey, let's throw out let's spoof on marketing a little bit?
You mean the actual comic book itself, or just all the other pieces of
the beginning of it? You said you started on Instagram.
Yeah. So we just started there, just posting, you know, we posted every Friday, and we still post every single Friday. And that just kind of, I don't know if it does, well, it's kind of done fine for our followers, but, you know, I think posting a lot more would definitely gain us some more traction. But these things it takes forever, you know. I'm sure you know comics. It's still a comic book in the same sort of thing, you know. It's just on Instagram, but it takes a long time to think stuff up, and what's it going to look like, and where's it going to be positioned. And so it's thankfully we've got a lot in the can, but it takes a long time to create these things. So, you know, as we started doing that, the other parts of it, you know, extending into merch and going into animation and stuff like that, it just felt right. It's like, what else can we do with this? So we're moving over to YouTube, but again, you know, it's more video based, it's more animation based. So that just takes it takes a while. It takes a while to make that stuff even more, but it's definitely a lot of fun. We'd love if we could get a bigger crew. We'd love to, to do more on Instagram, or on the YouTube, sorry. And TikTok. TikTok's the same sort of way.
Yeah. So I think Joe was asking, did you have a comic book in mind, as in like a paper print comic book in mind, or was it just kind of for fun and shown on Instagram and
I got
social media?
Sorry. Yeah, I misunderstood that.
Is that where you get that, Joe? Yeah.
So the comic itself, I think it was kind of one and the same. We didn't really do a whole lot, but we ended up making these comics as we were doing these one-offs every week. We started kind of, we'd be out, at a restaurant or something, and we'd be chatting, and you have a couple drinks, and the next thing you know, you've done the same thing I do at work, which is you take one concept and you just stretch it out to as far as it can possibly go, and you go, wow, that would actually make a really funny comic. And since we were doing one-offs, it's like, well, how can we make these things go a little bit further? So we kind of played around with on Instagram stories, kind of making it a like a 16:9 ratio, or a 9:16 ratio. But you had to turn your phone horizontally, and that it makes a big fall off for people. So it was originally like, the letterbox, the comic would come up on your screen like that, and you could swipe through the comics. And so we were finding that people just weren't doing that. People still don't do that with media. They just don't turn their phone. Like, it seems like it'd be so obvious, but nobody does that. Nobody wants to do that, which is, I don't get it. It's just a subconscious thing that doesn't happen. So we ended up with all these comics that we had written, and we were like, but how do we make them work for Instagram? Can you put them on YouTube? Could you make them, play on a rail that's just it plays and then it changes over? And there's digital comics out there that do that. They don't really work very well, just because they're static for YouTube. So when it came around, we just kind of had the idea of, we've got all these comics. It's just a shame that we can't get them out there effectively. And so we started reaching out to a lot of the publishers around, and put a package together. And pitch decks are kind of things we pitch to clients a lot. And so making a pitch deck is something I knew a little bit about. And so we kind of put this pitch deck together, and introduced the characters and the world that Ranger Stranger was in, and started sending it out. And I within the next day, Scout was like, this is funny. We love this. We'd love to help you do this. And we were like, wow, that's great. And so I started to look into the president, and loved his backstory. I don't know if you know anything about the president who started it, but his backstory is just so cool. Everybody there is really, really cool. And so we started talking about what we could do and how this could work. And so we were like, we've got these 16:9 comics. Can we put them does it work still in this, in this published world? And it did. So it's great. So the comics will be, I wish I could show you something, but you guys, you may have to wait. But the pages are, it's like 4 panels. So like 16:9, 4 panels. And it's just a real simple layout. It's a real simple read. And I think there's 11 comics per issue. And it's going to be 3 issues coming out starting in November. And then I think we might do a graphic novel thing after the end of this run. We'll see what happens, but that'll be kind of fun. Put them all in a big coffee table book. It looks like it looks like a demented Field and Stream or something like that. You can put on your coffee table and talk. It'd be a good
Have the
conversation.
in-laws over flipping through that, and they'll love it. So Spark said the Scouts been putting out some really good titles. That's got to put you on a natural high for joining their lineup. How does that make you feel joining the Scouts lineup? Like you briefly touched on it.
Yeah. The second that we signed on with them, they started doing a ton of stuff. I don't know how much I can talk about. I hope I'm not doing anything, but they've just expanded. They got some more distribution rights that extends into Canada, which is huge. And and they've been big fans and really supportive. And so we couldn't be happier. And something about Scout really just kind of made us gravitate toward them too. Scout Comics sounds like a box with Ranger Stranger.
Yeah.
So they're awesome. I can't say enough good things about them.
Before I kick over to Mike, one quick question. Did you have any publishers you went to and said, no, this is entirely too dark, or we don't want to touch this with 10-foot pole? You don't have to name any names, but...
Yes and no. Amazingly, everybody responded. So we didn't send it out to 1 million people. We didn't cut a huge swath through the whole publishing industry, but everybody that we sent it out to, I'm sure you can imagine who they are. You know, we picked a few, and they all responded, which is amazing. We weren't expecting really anything, but they all said, there's something here. We really like it. What's wrong with you? And this is not for us. Some of them said, this is really, really good. One, I actually can't remember who it was right off the bat, but they said, do you have anything darker? And we were like, what?
Wow.
Like, darker?
Wow.
What do you want to see? So I was like, okay, like we pulled our worst, Instagram post, and it was like, it was Garland and Banjo Beaver sitting having a picnic, and this rainbow has extended from back on the horizon, and it's come down right through the middle of them and just split them right in half. And there's vitriol spraying everywhere, and so we were like, is this dark enough for you? And they went, oh my God, yeah, that's dark. So it's not really for us, but we really, really like it. And so they definitely, which is inspiring that they at least responded and said, this is good. It's not for us. And that's, that's still, it's still, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome.
It's like, it's one of those, like, I get it. I'm not upset. Like we know what we're doing. We know how messed up it is. So, but having Scout getting it right off the bat and liking that is what was really cool.
Mike, do you have a question, or you just want to sit there? You're
I just want to sit here and take
bearded,
it all in.
natural.
I just want to say I'm really excited come November for the actual book. I'm a big fan of dark humor and horror movies, and so
that's awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah,
really excited.
We hope it's going to do well, and everybody comes out on top. We don't want to let Scout down, but we're hoping it's going to be fun. So it's been positive so far. So we're hoping.
Cool. Are you a collector yourself? Do you collect comics? And
yeah. I think I think. Well, I'm definitely more. My other two partners are. They've been buddies of mine since college. So we've been friends for years and years, and it's kind of a nice dichotomy. One guy is a little more business savvy, so he kind of takes care of that, and our other buddy is he's just one of the smartest guys I've ever met, and because he's so smart, he's a great writer, and he's so soft spoken. So he likes to kind of work on that side, but I absorb all of it. So I think we're kind of more on the San Diego Comic-Con level of comics. I love comics, and I love digital media and movies and podcasts, and so I kind of absorb it all at the same level. But I think some big inspirations were for me recently have been Perry Bible Fellowship. You ever read that?
Yeah.
No.
Oh my God, you're like the only guy that reads that.
Really? Is that right? Oh God, I just like I just he's been around for years, and I mean, funny name. He's such a dark guy, and he just does a lot of like kind of the same things we do. Lots of one-offs and lots of or like small panel comics, and so I think he just made the transition onto Instagram, but he's really great, and he just released a graphic novel, I think through Dark Horse, and it's one of the best that I've read recently. I love Ice Cream Man. You guys read that? That's great. That's an awesome one. Like that's just so like surreal and in kind of like this alternate universe of weirdness, and that's dark. Another one I really loved it's so weird. It's a great premise. Like I love the name of it, and then you look at the photos and you just go, "What the hell is this?" Yeah, those have been really great. I loved. Oh God, I'm totally blanking on his name, but his comic is named Big Man Plans. Did you guys ever read that?
Eric Powell.
Yes,
Eric Powell. Yep, I have that run a Big Man Plan. That is freaking twisted stuff.
That's pretty out there. I mean, he didn't pull any punches making that one, and I was turning the pages going, Jesus, like I'm dark, but it was like, wow, he really went in there. But that was really good. Like looking at it from like a story perspective, like what a great story. I haven't seen a character like that before. It's a timepiece. It's somebody that is not, they don't make comics about a character like that. They don't make movies about a character like that. And it felt like he was so well fleshed out and so well done. And God, I think I've read that thing like 4 or 5 times because it's just so good. The illustrations are so good. Anything Eric Powell does is amazing. He's just coming out with the comic about Ed Gein. You guys seen that?
I don't think I've seen that one. No.
Look what Ed Gein done. I think that's what it was called. Did you hear what Ed Gein done? I think that's what it was. Amazing. I mean, it looks so good. Did you hear what Eddie Gein done? So he just brought that's coming out, and I think they made that on a Kickstarter. So they made it themselves.
Oh wow!
But it looks gorgeous. It looks beautiful.
Does. Let's check that out.
Yeah, you can see the connective tissue there, the darkness and the vitriol.
Yeah.
I don't mean to dwell there. That's just where it goes.
Sparkshaw says the indies have really taken charge lately. Lots of people are really flocking to them. You'll have a great start there at Scout.
Thank you very much.
A lot of great Scout fans in here. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at some of the indies, Scouts is kind of up there too, with putting out some really good quality stuff of the indies. I mean, I don't really consider Image an indie much anymore. They're pretty up there with Marvel and DC with a lot of their stuff, but
yeah,
for sure. So you talked about your creative team, how some of them kind of more the business end, some is kind of behind the scenes. What percentage of it is of your team and stuff, and you? Is the writing? Do you all contribute to writing? Do you all contribute to art, or what is that balance between the three of you?
Yeah, I think I think it's first of all, I mean, it's not easy to get a group together. I think just the three of us being friends has its pluses and its negatives, because we'll get into arguments on Zoom. Where my girlfriend's like, can you stop that, please? We're just so heated talking to me, because we all care about this and but we can do that with each other. But getting a group together where, you've got a writer and you've got an artist and you've got someone who's got other skills. I think that's not easy to do because, finding people that are passionate about the same things that you are, it doesn't always happen in the comic world, in the film world, in the TV world, whatever medium. It's difficult to have have that kind of dichotomy where people want to do this as much as you are, and I'm definitely more passionate about it than they are. But that's okay. It gives us a reason to kind of come together and kick around ideas and make each other laugh, you know. So in that sense, it's a lot of fun. But I do the bulk of it. So it's my illustrations and me kind of putting it all together. Our other partner kind of brainstorms with us. Rocky is he's a true outdoorsman. He does he's outside constantly. He loves to camp and hike and stuff. He hiked the Pacific Crest Trail. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Runs the Pacific. So he's hiked that. He knows a ton. So he's our guy that we can kind of throw stuff off of and be like, does this work? Is this mushroom? Does this kill you, or does this make you trip out? And so you know, he's
Wait,
fun.
what's this guy's name again? I need to. I got mushrooms everywhere here in Virginia. Hold on.
He's good. He's a good guy to have around. He'll keep you alive if you ever get stuck out in the woods. So yeah, and then Adam's just been, you know, one of the funniest people I've been around since college, and so Rocky and I kind of put this thing together, and we said, you know, Adam should be a part of this too, and he's our good joke person. You know, it's 11 o'clock at night and you go, does this make sense? And he's like, what if it's this? He'll just send one random line back. You know, it's not, don't get your pennies in a bunch. Don't get my pennies in a bunch. And you go, God dang it. That's the line. That's hilarious. Wouldn't have never thought of it. So it's definitely fun to have other people, you know, working on things. If you guys make comics, have you delved into your own creations?
No, Joe's dabbled in it a little bit, but not either Mike or myself.
Yeah. I'm taking the long approach to writing out a script instead of just saying, hey, these are my words, put them in a box, you moron. That doesn't seem to work when you tell people to do that.
It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. And if you're doing it by yourself, if there's nobody else, you know, it's lonely and it's daunting.
I'm not an artist. That's my biggest. I can't draw.
Hey, sometimes these days that's the greatest. You know, Beavis and Butthead. You know, that it makes it more enjoyable sometimes.
We are working on our own. We got a local. Or he's not local. He's local to our community here on YouTube. His name's Austin LeMay. He's working on a variant cover for us for a comic book called Delta Dogs, and I got the rough sketches of it today. And I love, because like you were saying, you know, when you're working with a group of people, I find it very hard to explain what I have going in here, and then have it come out my face hole and into your two ear holes, and then you bring me something that's garbage, and then like I can't get mad at you, right? Because maybe I didn't explain it right. Maybe you're just a potato. Like I don't know what the transition is there, right? So
you sound like every client that I deal with in my work.
Right.
So I totally get it.
And then when I found this one guy, I was describing to him, you know, in brief, short sentences over a text what I wanted, and like he was like, I know exactly. I'll send you a rough sketch. Like he did a quick one up. I got it tonight, and I was like, oh, you're my artist for life. Anything I need done, you're the guy.
I can just grunt a couple times and you get exactly what I'm saying.
It's good.
That's great.
So, I get that teamwork thing and just having the right team. I definitely feel you on that.
Yeah, I think it definitely makes such a big difference. I'm always blown away by, you know, Gary Larson would talk about he just sits in his studio and just draws all day. It's like, yeah, doesn't that just make you want to like sometimes just stand up and run screaming out into traffic? You know, he had talked about that a lot, and same with, you know, novel writers and stuff too. It's like, oh my God, how do you do it? Not easy.
I don't know. What is it? Somebody once told me, because the thing was, find your passion, or if you make your hobby your job, you'll never have to, you know, work again. And I'm like, I usually tell people, I work with small businesses all the time, and I'm like, if you make your hobby your business, you better go get another hobby, because you're about to lose your mind. It's gonna get boring quick.
Yeah, your hobby can turn on you very quickly. Yeah, I believe it. Definitely.
So Mars wants to know if that's going to be available on Scout's website for sale when it's up. know that?
I would assume so. Right now, they haven't told me. I know it's on. I know it's on previews. Let me see. I don't know if they have a link. So they have an article about us. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
I saw that.
yeah, it doesn't look like they have a link up. I don't know. I hope so. Because wherever we can make it available, that's definitely the best way. I would assume they probably would, but we'll definitely we'll have a link on our Instagram site as well, for sure.
Somebody was asking about stickers as well. There's sticker collectors in the community as well.
Yeah, comic book collectors or sticker whores.
Yeah. Absolutely. If you guys, that's so strange. Like right here, I got a ton. If you want some free ones, go to the Instagram site, DM me your address. I'll send you a few out. There's like 3 or 4 different versions of these.
Nice.
If you want those,
cool.
but that's all I got right now, sitting right at my belly button. But you can get other stickers on if you go to our link tree on Instagram. You can definitely pick those up there as well.
I think I have a link to your website in the description of this video too, so it's down in there. So if you want to find it,
super.
That'd be a nice addition to my water bottle too. Definitely have to get
That's
some of those.
awesome.
I'm actually going to put it on my welding helmet because that's where all my stickers go. I have a welding helmet in my garage.
I had a guy, he put it on, what did he put it on? I think he put it on his motorcycle helmet, like right in the front. So he's just got a shield. I was like, oh, that's great.
Looks official.
Yeah. The official Ranger Stranger motorcycle helmet.
Nice.
He says, Spark says it's listed on League of Comic Book Geeks too.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's good. Yeah, they do a lot of stuff with Scott. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we're going to be, I think, so we've been in talks. I mean, I'm in San Francisco, but New York Comic Con, I think they're going to be there, and I think they're going to have some things. I created some standees for them, which are really, really cool. They might be a little bit pricey, but I sent it to them anyway, and I was like, put this out there. Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. There's like a 8-foot Bigfoot that's got garland over his shoulder, and he's walking away with it. And so it's like, I mean, it's huge. And so I was kind of thinking they probably aren't going to do this, but I'm going to send it to them anyway. And they loved it, but
half Squatch. You should have gone full Sasquatch. You should have made a half Squatch.
That's the nickname they called me as Half Squatch. Yeah.
Because of all your gray hair and your
and I live in the Pacific Northwest. I live in Oregon.
7'8".
So I'm not 7'8", dude.
What like crazy, stupid, tall.
I know that feeling. I've dealt with it my whole life. I'm 6'2". I'm not. I think you got me beat, but I definitely know the feeling. I seem to be going down like this too, from like sitting at the computer. I used to be like 6'4", and now I'm like slowly hunching over. And
I have wheels on my feet. I'm like backing up, get moved farther away.
So you were saying that right now you have 3 comics coming out. Is that correct?
Yeah, it'll be November 3rd. I think early January, and then the third one will be like into spring. I think like April, something like that.
Okay.
So we got them kind of set up. We made them as you get them based on the seasons.
Right.
So the first one is going to be my favorite time of year, which is Halloween, and then Christmas. We kind of gave a nod to winter and Halloween, or fall and winter. So all the comics are based on that. And then the next one is going into spring. And so that one's all based on spring and everything that takes place in spring. And then summer is all summer. So it's kind of cool. Like it's when you pick it up, it'll be in the season that you're in.
For sure. So being the artist of this, are you going to do the comic book run where you're going to hit the Comic Cons and do the signings and all that?
I hope so, man. If COVID stays at bay here, who knows what's going to happen? You know, it seems like there's a new variant coming out every week. So who knows? The plan is right now. So back and forth was New York Comic Con. You know, they were going to go big, then they were going to go. Scout was they were going to go big and then go small. I don't know. Hopefully, you know, they're back in it, but it's just, you know, it's changing everything. COVID is just changing it. We are going to try to be at Emerald City Comic Con, so we're working on that one. We'll see again how that goes. We're trying to secure some booth space, but that's back on. So hopefully that will actually take place. And then I think we might do a couple smaller ones, but just up and down, you know, from like here or from like LA to Seattle. I think we might do a couple more, and then you know, try to do as many comic book stores as we can in our areas. So the guys will do some in Seattle, and then I'll see if I can do some in, you know, greater San Francisco area. So, but we'll promote that. So we'll let you know if anything pops up. You know, where we're doing it, we'll definitely promote that out there.
Well, me and Mike here on East Coast here, we generally hit up Baltimore, C2E2.
Oh yeah,
anything in Virginia. So if you're ever out this way, let us know. Love to buy you a beer. Maybe do some of that sweet heroin.
Absolutely, we can do that. I'm all for it. That sweet heroin. Maybe some delicious meth.
Totally made me forget what I was going to say, Joe, or ask.
For anyone who's watching, I don't know if there was a joke that was going beforehand, so that is more of a non sequitur. They're like, "Well, heroin? What are they talking about?"
No, actually, I joke about heroin and cocaine on this channel all the time.
You do? Okay, good.
All the time.
Fine.
Yeah.
So
they
nobody's
don't even
surprised.
bat an eye anymore.
Nobody's shocked to hear that line.
We talk about long-running jokes, and we've been doing this show since 2016, I think. You know, we're at 250 episodes for reviews and stuff like that.
Nice.
We have like constant jokes throughout the time, even jokes that run way back, and they keep getting brought up. And sometimes new members have to go, what are they talking about?
Yeah,
so one of the long-running jokes is, I tried to make a joke saying raccoons scare me because they have little thumbs and they could choke me. That was the joke. And they said, what? You choke raccoons behind the dumpster at the store? And that's what it was. That's what it turned into be. Huey, the raccoon strangler that killed raccoons behind the store. So my question is to you, is there a chance that they're going to have a Ranger Huey getting strangled by raccoons in any of your comic strips?
Getting strangled by a raccoon. So he would be getting strangled. He wouldn't be doing the strangling.
Yeah. Or I can strangle one and then be attacked by a whole bunch later that night.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I like that, Joe. That's good. He gets he's getting a little too aroused from the asphyxiation of raccoons.
The tent there, you know what I'm saying?
He's got a small proclivity for choking small furry animals. That's good. I don't know. That's a good. I'm on board for that. It's a good concept.
And I'd be more than happy to kick out any advice you needed on that. Or not that I have a whole lot of experience with it, but
Huey, you'd be a good point of contact. We got lots of questions about Ranger life. So
questions about Sasquatch or like
exactly.
So thinking of co-workers, so this Rue Deasy is actually a co-worker of mine. He's saying he's seen me do it at work, and he's a liar. He's an absolute liar.
Just in case your boss is watching.
My boss is.
Yeah, Huey, that actually brings up an interesting question. This is totally non sequitur. Have you ever heard of any Sasquatch stories at work from people at work, or you yourself?
I've had people ask me questions about it, you know, and I've had people say they've seen Sasquatch at work.
But nothing like employees, nothing within the deep recesses of the government. You've never heard of anything like that?
No, I don't. I'm way down in low totem pole. I don't have access to that kind of information.
I feel like you're lying, Huey. I think that's what a government snitch would say.
Yeah, that's about right.
Oh, you just got that is awesome. We got a new inside joke, you government.
Yeah. Okay. You got another question, Joe? We'll pass it on here. Get it off
No,
me
I'm
and
just
on
sit here
you.
and laugh. You keep that going.
No, I've embarrassed myself enough. Go ahead, Joe. What do you got? Anything else?
So somebody was asking. So we know you have the 3 issues kind of rolling. I'm sure it takes a long time to get those scripts going. So is the desire to kind of branch out to other stories there, or maybe kind of make this a continuous type thing? Are we building the universe here, or are we just following a linear story?
Boy, that's a great question. I mean, I like kind of like what I said earlier, my advertising brain is always like, what else can we do with this? Where can we take this? So I'm always excited to look at something else. But as for right now, like that, this world, I think that the fun part about this theme is like, there's a lot of stories out there where it kind of has a finite amount of run that you can do with it. It's like, well, okay, we've kind of had them do everything they could possibly do. I don't know, with us just kind of loving the outdoors and spending so much time outdoors, like we still have a ton of stories we could, like you just came up with one right there, raccoon asphyxiation. Like that's a new one. I haven't even thought of that yet. So I think there's still a lot of fun areas to play in the great outdoors. I mean, anything could take place, it's UFO abductions. Yeah, that's something. Yeah, that takes place outdoors. There you go. That's the story. So I think there's still a lot of fun areas that we can do with this that we can keep it going. But I mean, if there was a desire for another character or a more something in a different realm, but is still within the world of Hack-a-Neck, I mean, that's cool. Yeah, love it.
Cool.
So you have these on your Instagram too, the field notes.
Yeah,
they're all spread out through your Instagram page. Is there any plan on making that like a solid pack where you can buy all those like in a card form? I can carry around work and just kick out little Ranger tidbits.
Oh, that's cool. I love that. I don't know. That's a great idea. I think if we got enough of them together, like I think we've got like 150 of them written, and we just kind of pepper them out when we want to do some more content. It's just one of those things of like, well, I have a job and a life. I can't just keep sitting here making Ranger Stranger comics for 24 hours a day. Although that would be fun, I got to do other stuff. So it's like, well, what can we do that's simple and easy to do, but still engages with our audience? And so that was kind of a fun little thing that's just, a snackable piece of content. It's a little joke, you get a laugh, and you move on. So those are just that's kind of the genesis of where that came from. It is just let's just throw a joke out there and have some fun with it, and then kind of design it and make it kind of brand it a little bit. But if we got enough of them, I mean, that's a great idea. I love that.
So that brings up a good point, because it kind of reminds me of I was a Boy Scout, and I remember getting my Boys Life magazine. Right, and you had your couple of comic strips in there, and then always at the end of the thing, you had like that survival. Here's how you tie a Witcherman's knot, or something like that. It kind of,
those are great. Yeah, and that was a big inspiration to to some of the things that we have. Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
So Sparks said he's put in an order for 5 copies.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I love that. If you guys, I don't want to, I mean, I guess I'm here to plug, but definitely share it as much as you can. I know that helps our numbers. So preview on the preview site. Just like, even if you send it to yourself with an email, I can definitely, it definitely looks good for us to bring in more stuff.
We'll definitely make sure, Huey will make sure we put the link down in the description. So if you're watching this down below, definitely check that out.
There's already a link to their Instagram and their website. And so probably when it comes down and gets released, stuff, we'll end up throwing it on our Facebook page and stuff like that, letting people know that it's going to be out. I know I'm buying 2 copies. I got to buy 1 copy to read, and I got to buy 1 copy to potentially grade and hang in my office, just to have as part of my Ranger memorabilia stuff. I have stuff like Smokey Bear and Ranger Smith, so I got to have this as a piece of art on my wall.
Oh, that's so cool.
So
Well, we've
So-
got variants coming out too, the alt covers, so that you guys can grab those. There's one for each one, so there'll actually be 6 covers total. So, and those are fun too. Yeah, those were a lot of
That
fun.
means those comic books are going to be worth millions, folks. You heard it from the artist himself. These comic books are rocketing in value. Go out and buy as many of them as you can as quickly as possible.
Hey, you're the first interview we've done for this, so you can say it all started right here. Maybe I hope so.
I'm going
Do you,
to
so a lot of comics nowadays too that are set up seem like they're set up for scripts, setting up for movies and stuff like that. Have done some animation. Do you have any plans? It wouldn't be like this seems almost like an adult. What's that? Comedy Central.
Adult Swim.
Adult Swim. Yeah. I mean, this seems like right up an alley for Adult Swim. Do you have any aspirations for moving forward and you have to have a bigger team or whatever to move forward into something like that?
Oh yeah, we're in some really early. I don't even want to say, but maybe. I guess that's about the best I can say right now. It's definitely possible. I mean, we would love it. That's so much fun to do. I would love to get a team together and make a series out of it. I think it'd be amazing. We get that a lot. There's a lot of strangely. Archer was not a direct influence, but has become an influence. And
I was just going to say that. It reminds me of Archer. Yep.
There's some weird undertone. How are you guys doing on time? Am I just like...
No,
you're fine. You're good.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was going to tell. So the Archer thing came up a lot as we started to do this, and it just where the style really started was kind of from those old 1950s, like C-Lab and even old Disney, Disney animation, where the cells of the animation they would paint the cellophane cells over the background. And they never quite sat right. There was always that reverb, that moves it around. And then the cell would come off of the background. So it'd give it a little tiny drop shadow on there. So we kind of took a lot of inspiration from that. You can kind of see it in all the images that there's always a little tiny drop shadow. So it looks like that cellophane is placed over these backgrounds. And so, but the way that it was drawn, because there is a lot of kind of vintagey nods in Archer, because that's what those guys were going for. They oddly kind of, there's a lot of similarities between the two. And I hadn't even started watching Archer fully when we were doing this. And there was a lot of comments going, this looks just like Archer. It needs to be on Adult Swim. And I was like, wow. I mean, I'm completely, bowled over by it. I think that's an amazing compliment. But I started looking at it and going like, wow, that's really cool. So I started to really get into Archer and started, bought some production books about how they made their animations. And so that was a big influence of how the Ranger Stranger cartoon, the animations come together. We do that in the same way that Archer does. So we took a lot of nods from them and started looking at the backgrounds. And I was like, God, these backgrounds are just so cool. Like they're the perspectives are right, and they've got them decorated so neat. And so those are made by a company called Trinity Animation in Kansas City, Missouri. And so we reached out to them and we said, we love what you guys obviously have done for Archer. It's so cool. How do you guys make it? And we started talking to the owner of it, and we go, we have this stupid, dumb comic that is a lot of fun. We really love it, but we have backgrounds too. Would you be interested in making any backgrounds for us? And his name's Jim. He got right back to us and he goes, we love this concept. It's so cool. We'd love to make some backgrounds for you. So the Archer guys, they said, we just finished, I think they just finished season 12 of Archer. I think they just wrapped on 12.
Yeah.
So they said, we got a nice window of time and we'll throw some backgrounds together for you. And so they made the Ranger cabin that you'll see in the comics They made the entire interior of it. So we worked with them designing it, and, what does it look like? What is, there's kind of some nods to some backstory in there, like how's he decorated it. And, he's got a big map of Hackensack National Park there that just has all these awful names that are given to it, and so you'll get to see a lot of that, and but it just looks gorgeous, like the way that they made it and the way they designed it, So that, in a roundabout way, kind of, Archer kind of, we took one step closer to them. Hopefully not too close, because we definitely don't want to copy them, which we haven't. But just such an inspiration for us. That is what they became. So we were really excited to have that part of these comics come out too, because you'll read it and you'll go, is that really, that looks like some things. So you'll see a little Archer spice through there.
It's nice. That is really cool.
Now, I mean, you could tell me I had to take it down or whatever, but this picture of the cabin you have here on the outside, that is now the backdrop on my work phone. The cabin says Park Ranger. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I got it, because I've been trying to find something Park Ranger-y for my phone. I'm like, this is perfect. Ranger. Have it right on there. I don't have the bloody, wood burn on there, but like that. But I just have the cabin. So,
did you take it off the website? Did you grab the wallpaper?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, we put.
Yeah.
Actually, I can't. Yeah, it's been a while since I put those. I put those on there, but we put some wallpapers. Let me see if that's on there. It should still be up. I think
I just grabbed it like last week, I think.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, it is. It's got the exterior shot of the Ranger cabin. So yeah, so there's backgrounds on there you can use for your Zoom meetings or anything else, and those are really fun. When we have meetings, my buddies have the office in there, so it looks like he's sitting at the desk in the cabin, which is really great. But those have been up. So those are older. That's before Trinity jumped on. But now we've got a whole new redo of of the exterior of the cabin, and then all the interiors. It's basically the same, but it's just been taken up like 100-fold. So it's really cool.
So I see on the main website, so we have the clickable link of the live weather cam, and we have the live eagle nest, but we don't have anything from the live bathroom cam. Yeah.
I know. That's something else. I got to do that. That just came, that started as a joke. We made the first one. We're like, I don't know, let's put a live bathroom cam up there. We got to make that, because it was too funny. We laughed a long time about what we could do with that. Like, can you just click through? You do like 3 or 4 different links that you can just click through and see like 4 or 5 different bathrooms to see which one's open. So maybe there's like flies buzzing around or something, or some graffiti someone had written on there. Who knows? There's a fire burning down in the hole. I don't know, but that's definitely something we want to make for sure, and do the live stream, because those have actually been a lot of fun. That was just a dumb, stupid idea we made, and we're like, why don't we put this on Instagram Live? It still plays on a rail, but it looks like you're watching something in real time.
Right.
So those were kind of fun to do.
I've always said, though, because we have to go clean those stinking pit toilets out there at work. I'm thinking, if I can survive cleaning one of those, I can survive Corona. I don't have any problem with that. I've been probably exposed to so many things out there dealing with those toilets that Corona's got nothing on it.
Yeah, I'll bet you have to have a strong immune system dealing with park sanitation, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's great to see some of the newbies come on and just do the dry heaving when you got to deal with some of the stuff, and you just out there picking it up with gloved hands. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You should come immune to it. So the choice of a park ranger.
Hey, I envy you in a way. This is about as close as I can get to just immediately jumping out into the wilderness. I just open up my Photoshop, and I'm there in this world. We live in downtown San Francisco, and it's you can get out of the town, but it takes you an hour and a half to get into the wilderness. So it's not always easy. So I envy you being a forest ranger. It's great. Cold weather, rain. I would love it.
We're just at an hour here. Any more questions before we wrap up tonight.
Wow, it's an hour already. Jeez.
It's been an hour. Yep.
That was
Coolest
a lot of
cats you
fun.
hang out with yet on YouTube.
It's amazing that we can do this. I think it's so cool. That's one plus for COVID. It makes this
Right.
stuff. It's really brought a lot of people together that couldn't do this as easy.
So
This was
last
great.
question: if somebody wants a shirt, a sticker, some font, whatever, where do we go to get your stuff? Where should we be looking at? What should we be doing to get to you and your great stuff?
Well, yeah, absolutely. You can go to Threadless. We're on Threadless or Redbubble. I think that link still works on. We don't do a lot on the website anymore, but I think the links still work right there. But Instagram is the best way to do it. Just go to the link tree. It's the second one down below the comics. Oh, there they are. Yeah, that still works.
Boom.
Yeah, you can go through the website there, or go to Linktree on our Instagram front there, and there's a lot of fun stuff. We've had a blast making that stuff. It's just, what's a goofball idea that feels like it's on brand. It's kind of dark and still you could wear it out relatively in public.
Yeah, I didn't see these awesome skull Rangers here first. I saw the freaking Trout and the half shirt Ranger. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll have to go with that one. And I didn't even see these. These are like, man, that's cool up there. I like those.
Yeah, those are fun. We just posted those, and we've gotten a decent amount going there because I think we just posted those last week, so those are pretty brand new. But yeah, those are great.
So to go along with my Brony shirt or the Nickelback shirt, this is the sexual ambiguous Ranger too. What's that? I haven't got my Nickelback shirt yet. I'm getting it.
Tyler, are you a fan of Nickelback?
I don't think I've listened to a Nickelback song.
Yeah, nobody has. Just
20 years. Although, Nickelback is like making a comeback. Do you know
No,
this?
they're not.
Yeah, I swear to God, they're making a comeback. I kid you not. Nickelback is coming back around to being totally hated. Everybody got so tired of making fun of them so awfully. They went, let's give them a break. And now, at least on social media, Nickelback is like actually starting to see a following again. I was like, you sellouts. You got to be kidding me. You hated them so much for so long. And now you're like, all right, this is getting boring. Just digging you into the dirt every single day. Let's throw you a bone. So yeah,
I'm flying out to see these two knuckleheads toward the end of the month. We're going to spend a few days together hanging out, going to comic book stores and doing some stuff. And I threatened to wear a Nickelback shirt when they pick me up from the airport. And they were going to leave right at the fucking airport.
Huey, you might just get compliments. You start to come around. I kid you not.
He thinks we're picking him up from the airport. I never agreed to that.
We'll see about that. Okay, so any more last minute things from you, Tyler, before we bounce on out of here?
No, it was an absolute pleasure sitting down with you guys. And we were talking about how lonely it can be doing something that you love, but I think it's so cool that the three of you can get together and do something like this, like kind of what I was saying. It gives you a reason to shoot the shit and make each other laugh. So I think that's so cool what you guys got going. And I just love that you had me on. It was really a lot of fun.
We definitely appreciate you being on too. So make sure you look for that November 2nd. I think that's when it hits these stores. So just check it out. Pre-ordered at your comic book store. It's in the previews this month. Make sure you get it. Get 2 copies. Definitely we appreciate you having it on, Tyler.
It's great. Thanks, guys.
Right. Yeah, later.